G'day, and due to popular, actually just chronic disinterest, the Weekly Waffle's back after a week's hiatus. Racetrack Ralphy with the man who just missed his spot in the queue at the deed poll office to be known as the voice of reason, because Jared Waitley got there first.
No, I was there first, he took it.
He just took it.
Yeah.
Bad luck. There you go. It's like missing out on a good racehorse name, isn't it?
Oh, I look forward to his Weekly Waffle every week in the Herald Sun.
This is our Weekly Waffle here. And then, after 6 winning meetings in a row, I can proudly say I was undefeated on Saturday. Didn't get anything wrong. How are we going there? Just a bit of a washout at Sandown?
Oh, yeah. Expected it.
Yeah, yeah.
It rained.
What odds was it? The washout?
The washout.
Did you lay it off?
Well, I had a gut feeling on the Friday morning it might be washed out, but I don't think anyone else at Racing Victoria thought so. Why didn't they think of moving the meeting? But what was the contingency plan? What did they announce on Friday? Listen, if this meeting gets washed out, we're going to run here or run there.
Well, just... God, I thought there was some morals.
Because Sandown is... Oh, don't worry about you.
No. Scapolo and Club Commander, Daida.
Did you get on the early and shout?
Oh, Daida was 650. By Friday, Saturday morning it was 4s. Scapolo was 480. It was 350, I think. And Club
Many years ago, when...
So in other words, stuff you if you're an owner. It's all about me.
Many years ago, I was betting a fancy one, and I had a little bit of sneaky mail from a trainer, and had a little bet early and knocked a little bit of the price off. Late scratching.
Yeah.
One that's next started $4.10 or something when it was 20
shelved.
Yeah.
No. So my only thing, and we can all be smart asses in hindsight, but my only thing was, and I think this is something that they can learn from, is in winter, no one really needs to go. Well, not when I say no one, that's an exaggeration, but not a lot of people need to go. My intelligence was, I've got some intelligence then, obviously not mine, but it could have been run at Flemington, but as a phantom meeting, because I heard Greg Carpenter, and texted Greg Carpenter and Paul Bloodworth in the consultative way they did it, on Shane Anderson show on RSN this morning, saying that, you know, the problems were like the train lines and the catering and et cetera. Run a phantom meeting. I mean, punters just want to bet at this time of year.
When is racing got to realise, don't worry about what people turn up.
Yeah.
It's a TV event now. Look, I was reading in Chris Root's story on the Sydney Morning Herald about the problems that ATC are in trouble. It's just 60 million. They said all the meetings they run at Canterbury and Warwick Farm are run at a loss. Open the gates. Don't pay. You don't have to pay for gatemen or any staff. Run it or shut the gates and run it as a TV event.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be some happy medium there. Let people who really want to go, but you don't need to be spending money on infrastructure. But of course, there's a bigger reason for that. We'll get on that in the issues. But what I'm saying is, it could have been a phantom meeting just for the 6 races.
Is this the issues?
Hey?
Is this not the issues?
No.
Oh, this is the preview of the Sandown meeting.
This is the preview of the issues. The review of the Sandown meeting. We'll talk about some other races from interstate. But yeah, anyway, so they've done the best they could. A couple of races at Moonee Valley, a couple of races at Flemington on Saturday.
I think they've done a good job. I think they're terrific.
The jumps calendar's full, but we didn't want the tail wagging the dog, because the jumps racing at the moment is not paying for itself. It's a bit of an indulgence, but it's been given every chance. So good on the people behind it.
Everybody came out and said, job well done, job well done, job well done. And then Steve Payton says, job not well done.
What did Steve Payton whinge about?
I don't know. He wanted the jumps at a different time or something. He's done lucky they're still on.
The sport was actually cancelled. And the reason it's going...
thankful that they've put it on at the end of the year, and they've extended another week.
Dennis Napthine and Mike Simons has the sports backs. Without those two, it wouldn't be a sport. So yeah, Steve Payton can be thankful that it exists, and in hindsight, maybe we could run it elsewhere. But Paul Bloodworth sent out on Twitter. Sorry, not sent out. He was being interviewed by Matt Stewart Saturday morning to explain the situation. Who's Paul Bloodworth, the head of Racing Victoria Racing Operations? I think I got that right. Greg Harper's just spoken, and he said, look, we might move the Moonee Valley meeting from the Wednesday to Sandown on Wednesday, so the jumps can be accommodated. Of which Hayes blew up, Snowden blew up, Malua Racing blew up, and rightfully so. I got a text message too from a trainer who said, "Are you up?" 10 to 7 of it. Of course I'm up.
Yeah, and that was just a thought process they're going through.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a good thing. So he thinks out loud, gets the feedback saying, "No, we want horses suited to the profile of Moonee Valley."
Yep.
Idea scrapped. Now, that goes a fair way when you consider racing used to be, you know what, we're doing this. If you don't like it, that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought that was a good thing. You know, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. A very significant feature meeting at Flemington was a dynamite, unfair leaders' highway, and I think the reaction of the Flemington whoever was in charge at the time said, "Oh, well, the rate winners, bad luck."
Yeah.
So
meeting's over.
yeah, so at least a consultative situation. Now, what the knock-on effect to me is, it's up to the industry people to actually consult now, because they're saying we'll listen to you.
Yeah.
So if they're saying that we'll listen, well, it's up to you. If you and no point when you're amongst your mates, put it out on Twitter.
My only concern is that you can over-consult.
You can,
and then you finish up with...
you still need to make a decision yourself.
You're still got to make the firm decision. So listen, I've listened to you,
Yeah.
this is the way we're going to go.
Yeah.
And the industry has to accept that.
We had on-track good racing in Brisbane, though, and my man Ben Perkins found a couple of winners for us, which was good. But Gondokoro, Pat Carey's an interesting one to watch. He's an interesting one to watch, Pat Carey.
He's a very good trainer.
No, this isn't... Interesting doesn't mean a
What,
criticism.
just to watch him walking around? Or?
As in, like Gondokoro was unluckily beaten. It was in a slow lane at Geelong Maiden in the spring. Its next up was in the Flight Stakes Group 1 level at 200 to 1, and not surprisingly got thrashed.
Yeah.
But he's such an educator of his stayers, and then they end up... Eventually, he's been proven right.
He does race his horses out of their class because he sort of has already labelled them at a certain level.
Yeah.
And he's looking 12 months down the track or 6 months down the track, and it doesn't worry him to run them in. They might as well run a good 4th or 5th. He doesn't care about that maiden win. He's looking at a program that he's setting the horse. Plus, I think his owner, Trevor Delroy from WA, likes the horses to race at good meetings. He doesn't want to go around the bush, you know.
And I think Ethiopia went Sale Maiden, Caulfield, but without winning. Caulfield Stakes race, Sydney Stakes race, winning a derby from its fourth start. So it works for him. I'm just saying and that's what I'm saying. It's actually fascinating, and as you know from both sides of the fence, unless you're inside a stable, you're just guessing on what their intentions are.
Yeah. Well, that's right. You're not even when you're in the stable. You're sometimes guessing, especially when you're working for Lee Freeman. What's going through his mind?
Correct.
But decisions are made. I was standing next to Lee Freeman at Flemington one day, and we watched the Todman Stakes. Yeah. Our Maze K1, and he said, "What a crap race! I've got the slip a winner in a paddock at home," and made a decision to send Flying Spur to Sydney. He'd been in the paddock for 10 days, so that's just making a decision.
What would he know?
What would he know?
Being octagonal.
Well, the only thing he said, "Don't tell Mazzara."
So Gondokoro, so obviously big tick there. I loved Reece McLeod's daring because, okay, you can have, the closer you are to the inside, the more often you can decide what your tactics are. Got Diademi's back, that was no-brainer. But the 600, Nash was on Diademi, started edging out.
It wasn't a no-brainer though, because he had to hunt his horse
out
of the barrier one.
Yep.
First of all, he had to get the jump, which it hadn't been.
Yep.
Then he had to hunt her.
Yep.
Like, that was risky.
So tick one.
That was risky to hunt, because sometimes these stays don't like being pushed early and they can fire up or whatever. But he pushed and pushed to get on Diademi's back. And then I don't know, was it Jimmy on Diademi?
Nash.
Nash. I don't know what Nash was doing. Why did he get off the fence?
Well, and that was the thing. So, but particularly a lower profile jockey, Reece McLeod, the easiest thing in the world would have been to stay on Diademi's back. But instead he said, "No, bugger it, I'm going to try and win this race." And with his own initiative rather than sitting behind Nash for too long.
I think
good on him.
I think it's a risk. If there's horses outside the leader that have done a bit of work, it's a risk to come off the fence, because they're going to be the first to drop back, and I think that's where Nash made him blue. If he had stayed where he was, he would have got the run. As it was, Reece knocked one down and come out, but.
It's all right if you're on them.
Diademi went ordinary anyway, didn't she?
Yeah, and her data was doing that if you follow Vince Accardi's stuff. Sizzling, I don't know why that is favourite in the Stradbroke. I'll take a pot.
Well, it shouldn't be favourite, but I think he's a chance, but it shouldn't be favourite.
Beat a horse, one of the Dead Star Stars, by this much. That would be 200 to 1 this week.
It's quite a. Look,
that was a good win. He had to take off too early. All that.
I got on Twitter on Friday, and I don't often tweet a tip, and I said, "This is not a tip, but I think he's immoral."
Yeah, it's not a tip.
It's not a tip, but I think he's immoral because he ticks just about every box, and I know that he loves Eagle Farm, and I know with the blinkers on I knew he'd run better. Plus, it was a very average field. Yes,
that's my point about
so I don't know. 52.
Shouldn't have won that anyway, no matter what. And then, so why is it favourite against some good horses? I think buffering up front, Epaulet out the back, and one of them's going to win.
I'll give if they haven't cooked your song in the Doomben 10,000, I'll give you one chance, but you'll need to draw a go.
And far more importantly than the Sandown being called off and Gondokoro winning Group 1 and sizzling into the Stradbroke, Galah raced itself out of the Nudgel One Never Been Better Place Stakes. So well done to Galah.
He's out.
He's out in SEDCOM. We'll talk issues next.